Facing the rugged Rams, Bud Grant and the Minnesota Vikings faced their biggest obstacle of the season. And to gain win number 7 in a row, it was up to the Purple Gang to silence the thunder of John Hadel's stampeding offense. But the Rams countered with a defense of their own, momentarily halting super rookie Chuck Foreman. As the first quarter was coming to an end, Fran Tarkenton started to dent the LA secondary. Five plays later, the Ram front four rose to stop Tarkenton for a loss, short of a first down. The Vikes called on Fred Cox for the chip shot and an early lead. Following a short Minnesota punt, John Hadel went deep to Harold Jackson, but this time the dynamic duo couldn't hook up. Nate Wright's interception at the Viking 1 halted the Ram march, and it was time for the Viking offense to get into the act. With Chuck Foreman ripping medium gains in and around the Rams' defense, the Vikings used the candidate for Rookie of the Year as a decoy, springing wide receiver John Gilliam loose for 17 yards on the reverse. Seven plays later, the Vikings took a 10-0 lead as Tarkenton faked, then threw to Foreman for the score. Hadel brought the Rams back, using the short passing game to move into field goal range. David Ray homed in on 3 field goals, narrowing the Viking lead to 1 late in the fourth quarter. Final flurries by both clubs wound up with the defense proving to be the master. The Vikings held Hadel, the leading NFC passer, to a mere 87 yards, dropping him twice, this one on the final play by Carl Eller. Once again, the Vikings had forced an opponent to play the game their way, and in typical Viking style had come away with a 10-9 low-scoring victory over the now once-beaten Los Angeles Rams.
When you blow it on your own goal line, you've got troubles right now. This the Oilers found out last Sunday when Dick Butkus gathered in the ball to record his first touchdown as a pro. The Oiler offense did manage to punch out a couple of scores, however, the first on the determined effort of Paul Robinson. Lynn Dickey showed a nice touch on the final Houston tally as he lofted a 6-pointer to Ken Burrow. But it was so little so late, Ken didn't even consider a spike. Once again, the Oilers just couldn't get together, and when they did, it wasn't always what they'd envisioned. It was another tough week for Houston signal callers as the Bears kept barreling in. Even given the opportunity to throw, the Oilers proved out the old saw that when things go bad, they all go bad. Dick Butkus came up with this steal, and he loved every minute of it. Carl Garrett capped a solid 80-yard drive with this sprint around in to make it 14-0 Chicago. On the next series, what started out to be an Oiler opportunity turned into a Bears benefit. Bobby Douglas, throwing a surprising 21 times for the afternoon, hit Gary Cousins in the flat. Linebacker Floyd Rice came over to put Cousins out of bounds, that is. One thing for sure, you've got to respect the run on Douglas's option, and it paid off on this strike to an exuberant George Farmer. The third score of Chicago's 3-touchdown burst, all within 95 seconds of playing time, came at the start of the second half, when Ike Hill gathered in the kickoff and rolled like a big wheel for 93 yards. Chicago wrapped it up when rookie-in-waiting Gary Huff completed an impressive drive with his flip to Earl Thomas. At midseason, the disgruntled Bears found themselves with a 2-5 record, and the Houston Oilers, giving up 250 points in their first 7 games, made it 18 straight losses. Thus far this year, the Detroit Lions boosters have had little to cheer about. But last Sunday in rainy, cold Motor City, the timid Lions turned killer. From the start, it was obvious that the Lion defense was inspired as they brought the Packers' bull elephant backfield to ground, allowing Green Bay only 60 yards rushing and 3 yards passing for the entire game. Packer quarterback Jim Delgado vainly attempted to elude marauding Lion Jim Laslovic, number 52. When Scott Hunter entered the game, he fared no better as number 73. Bob Bell tracked him, twirled him, and tossed him down like a rag doll. In the air, the Pack fared no better as Hunter's pass was picked off by number 23, Levi Johnson. Number 11, Greg Landry, gave Detroit a 10-0 lead by bootlegging them in close enough for a 2-yard Steve Owen touchdown and later a field goal. When quarterback Bill Munson came in, he used the Lions' other runners to tear up field. Number 42, Alty Taylor, rushed for 160 yards on 23 carries. A magician who turned the Green Bay defense into a sieve. Alty Taylor's 9-yard touchdown run put Detroit out of reach at 24-0. Then Munson to number 81, John Hilton, finalized it at 34-0. And a well-balanced team effort was more than appreciated by the man who must be the fastest sign maker in Motown.
Last Sunday, the Baltimore Colts took the field, a team in search of a solidifying experience. Unfortunately for them, they ran into a red-hot-handed Oakland quarterback named Ken Stabler, who has been newly instituted as a starter in place of Darryl LaMonica. Stabler led Oakland to a 13-0 lead on 2 field goals and a rainbow to Mike Ciani. The Colts stayed within striking range as number 14, Marty Domrey's bombed wide receiver Glenn Doughty with a 40-yarder. And although Doughty didn't have the ball when he got up, he'd had it long enough for the 6. But then Domrey's made a fatal mistake by scrambling into the teeth of the Oakland defense. He ended up scrambled himself and out of the game for a spell. Meanwhile, Stabler continued to work like radar as he hit on 25 of 29 passes for 304 yards to break Sammy Baugh's all-time completion percentage record. At one point, he connected on 14 in a row, just one shy of the NFL record. His protection was perfect as he hit number 88, Bob Moore, to increase the Silver and Black's lead. It seemed someone was always open as time after time the snake hissed his passes into the seams of the Colts' zone defense. Raider radar was supplemented by the ground forces as number 28, Clarence Davis, put Oakland ahead 27-7. But the Colts came roaring back on the strength of some big plays, this one by Don McCauley. A 1-yard score by Lydell Mitchell was followed by a successful onside kick, and the Colts were threatening. Marty Domrez to ex-Raider Raymond Chester brought Baltimore to within 6 at 27-21, and an upset seemed imminent. But the Oakland Raiders have got their offense together now, and Clarence Davis put the game away on this 32-yard jaunt to make Ken Stabler's fine performance a victorious one, 34-21.
It was supposed to be a cakewalk for the happy-go-lucky world champions, but the Patriots hitched up their pants, buckled on their chin straps, and stuck it to Miami. The Patriots scored on their first play from scrimmage when Jim Plunkett evaded the no-name defense and found number 1 draft choice, Sam Bam Cunningham, for a quick 6. The game-hardened Dolphins rallied to a tie when Bob Greasy, behind number 62 Jim Langer's block, rifled a touchdown to Marlon Briscoe. With the score tied at 7, Plunkett went to Cunningham, who used his helmet like a snout to uproot any unfortunate Dolphin in his path. Behind number 73 John Hanna's block, Sam Bam blasted over from in close as the 2 number 1 draft choices combined to give the gutty Patriots a surprising 14-7 lead. Two Garrow Yepremian field goals cut the lead to a point at halftime, and then the Patriots began to kick away the game. Poor execution and the collective excellence of the Dolphin defense bored into Patriot confidence, which began to wane and wobble. With stunning swiftness, the game turned on the swivel hip runs of Mercury Morris number 22. Morris gained an even 100 yards and scored a touchdown, while teammate Larry Zaka banged out 70 yards and knocked down Patriots like bowling pins en route to Miami's final score of the game. Behind by 16 points, poor Jim Plunkett was outnumbered and outweighed and caught in a free-for-all. Plunkett and the Patriots fell to Miami 30-14. On a field better suited for surfing or boat racing than for football, it was the kind of a day when it's difficult to do anything right. Billy LaFleur managed to avoid a safety, much to the disgust of the San Diego Chargers. But this kind of disaster flaunting play was typical of the entire game. One man seemed to rise to the occasion. Charger running back Mike Garrett, number 20. Garrett slogged his way to 130 yards rushing. And when the Chargers scored, even the extra point was an adventure. San Diego led 13-6 after 3 quarters, but such good fortune could not last. Ben Davis's fumble return set up a most unusual play by a most unusual rookie, Greg Pruitt, number 34. This kind of ad-lib play occurred often when Pruitt was at Oklahoma, and Browns fans are hopeful this will become a commonplace scene in Cleveland as well. Trailing by 3 with 2 minutes to play, rookie Dan Fouts threw long for converted cornerback Willie McGee, the rookie with a 9.1 speed in the 100. McGee's first pro catch was good for 50 yards. And excellent position for kicker Ray Wershing as the Chargers and Browns ended up in a very wet stalemate, 16-16.
Just 2 games ago, the Bengals had shut down Terry Bradshaw on the Steeler offense in a 19-7 victory. And in the first half of their return match, Cincinnati held the upper hand again. Kenny Anderson's 53-yard connection to Bob Trumpy moved the Bengals to the Steeler 20. But 3 plays later, Anderson found Essex Johnson, who lost the handle, regained it, and then lost it again. John Rouser recovered Johnson's fumble as heads-up play by the Steeler defense kept Pittsburgh close, trailing 6-3. The Bengals had fashioned their lead thanks to their own heads-up defense as they continued to bottle up Bradshaw. Finally, the Bengals drove Bradshaw from the game when he suffered a broken collarbone that may well have ended Bradshaw's season. But disposing of Terry may have been the Bengals' fatal flaw. For the third time this season, backup quarterback Terry Hanratty's first pass of the game went for a touchdown, this time to Ron Shanklin. Pittsburgh led at the half 10-6. In the second half, Hanratty continued to move the Steelers well, connecting on his second and third passes of the game to set up a field goal and a 13-6 Pittsburgh lead. But on the drive, Terry number 2 sustained a painful rib injury. And so with the Steeler offense in trouble, their defense went out to get some points. Although punter Dave Lewis got a reasonably good snap, the Steelers were in so fast he couldn't get his punt away and was tackled at his own 4. Set up a short Steeler touchdown and a 20-6 Pittsburgh lead. Then the Steeler defense, mainly in the person of safety Mike Wagner, number 23, set out to protect their lead. 3 times in the last 20 minutes, Wagner snitched Anderson passes to keep the Bengals off the board. Only once did the Steeler defense falter when Anderson hit Essex Johnson with a 16-yard touchdown pass to make the score Pittsburgh 20, Cincinnati 13. Johnson's touchdown came with 7 minutes left, but the Bengals could not get the tie. Wagner's third interception of the day helped the Steelers successfully avenge their only loss of the season. Pittsburgh's 20-13 victory over Cincinnati gave the Steelers a game-and-a-half pad in their division, a cushion they may need with Terry Hanratty nursing sore ribs and Terry Bradshaw possibly lost for the season. Defensively, the Giants have been led all season by number 64, John Mendenhall, seen here recording his 7th sack of the year. Offensively, that leadership is up for grabs, and against the Cardinals, Randy Johnson made an impressive bid. His 348-yard passing explosion tops the NFL this season. With 28 completions and 44 attempts, Johnson was passing to everyone who could catch the ball, including center-turned tight end Bob Hyland, number 70. In the waning minutes of the first half, Mr. Johnson waltzed in to bring the Giants within 4 points to the Cardinals. Johnson also registered a 6-pointer to tight end Bob Tucker. In spite of Johnson's prodigious passing, the Giants' rushing offense failed to clear 100 yards, and it was becoming apparent that another one of those days was developing. Although in recent weeks there has been some doubt about the efficacy of bird power in the National Football League, last Sunday it demonstrated some rather impressive credentials. First, it swooped down in the person of number 45, Jim Tolbert, to steal a Randy Johnson aerial. Next, it was Donnie Anderson busting off 54 of 130 yards he gained for the day, his most productive afternoon in 8 NFL campaigns. There was nothing bird-like about his landing, but Anderson returned to tally his 9th TD of the season and retain a share of the NFC scoring title. The most potent elements of the Bird power attack were found in the coupling of Jimmy Hart and speedster Mel Gray. Hart hit on 13 of 18 for 235 yards, and in the last 11 minutes, the combo struck twice. The first time for 55 yards, as Gray showed he could still turn on the 9.2 speed. The second score rounded out a day of 3 touchdowns for the former Missouri star. And at the halfway mark in the NFL season, St. Louis was third in the NFC East, and the Giants a surprising last.
Happiness exploded like a cream pie in the faces of the Dallas Cowboys as the Eagles swooped down on Calvin Hill early. On offense, Roman Gabriel exploited the porous Dallas secondary with passes to Harold Carmichael, the NFC's leading receiver. Then he slipped Poe James up the middle on quick traps. Roman lured the Doomsday defense in and then dumped screens to Norm Boo Boulash, who lured the boo on the bedazzled Cowboys. The Eagles built a 10-0 lead on a field goal and a Gabriel touchdown dart to the 6A Harold Carmichael. But Dallas hung tough. Watch number 63 Larry Cole at the top of the screen push number 68 Mark Nordquist into the path of a Poe James sweep and totally disrupt its timing. Dallas cut the lead to 10-6 on a Roger Staubach floater to Otto Stowe. But Dallas fell behind 20-6, and so Staubach looked exclusively to Stowe, and the big play receiver personally led the Cowboys to another score. Stowe's second touchdown catch made the score 20-13. After 11 straight losses to the Cowboys, Eagle pride poured out before halftime. Boulash took a screen and chugged down deep to the Dallas 10. With seconds left on the clock, Gabriel split double coverage on Carmichael, and Philadelphia led 27-13 after 2 quarters. In the second half, the Eagle defense bolted down victory number 2 of the season as rookie Will Wynn, number 71, stormed in on Staubach. When Staubach tried to flee the pocket, there was game-breaking Will Wynn to provide the backbreaker. With the score 30-16, the final Dallas hope was stolen away by rookie Randy Logan, number 41. Logan's interception salted away the Eagles' second victory 30-16. For long-suffering Eagle fans, sweet victory was savored in euphoria and was well worth the long, long wait. Both Atlanta and San Francisco had won by 40-point shutouts the previous Sunday. But last week in San Francisco, Dick Nolan's 49ers were out to win their 5th straight victory over Norm Van Brocklin's Falcons. Once again, Nolan's starting quarterback was Steve Spurrier, number 11. Spurrier could accomplish nothing against the fired-up Falcons, who showed why they are ranked number 1 in the NFC in pass defense. When John Brody came to the rescue, things improved a little, but not much. After giving up 75 points in just 3 games, the Falcons in their last 3 have yielded only 9. For a while, the 49ers defense was almost as good, as the game's only interception was pulled down by cornerback Bruce Taylor, number 44. In his first professional appearance in his hometown, Bob Lee took over the game with long passes to Ken Burrow, number 82. A strong-arm quarterback like Bob Lee can throw long with confidence when he knows he has a receiver as aggressive as Ken Burrow. For the day, Burrow caught 5 passes for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Bob Lee, behind good protection, hit on 11 of 13. The Falcons had beaten the 49ers for the first time in 5 tries, and there was at least one fan in San Francisco who loved every minute of it.
There are still those in New Orleans who remember Billy Kilmer as the holder of 6 Saint career passing records. However, Kilmer is now the enemy, and defensive end Joe Owens gave Cool Hand Bill a reminder last Sunday. While the defense held, the Saints specialty team took over in the person of 5'5" Howard Stevens. Stevens' 37-yard punt return led to a 35-yard Bill McClard field goal, giving the Saints the lead. On the ensuing series, Archie Manning had the Saints on the move again. Manning capped the drive, faking to number 38, Bill Butler, then hitting the running back for a score. While the Saints had been shut out in the previous week against San Francisco, they now owned a 10-0 lead while still in the first quarter, and the upset had just begun. The Saints took a commanding 16-0 lead at the half as newly acquired place kicker Bill McClard booted home 2 field goals, this one for 43 yards. With the tension mounting, all Archie could do is watch as Billy Kilmer and the Washington offense attempted to salvage their composure. Saint safety Johnny Fuller deflected the misdirected Kilmer pass to number 37 Tom Myers, who returned it for 20 yards. The Redskins then turned to the man with the buggy whip arm, Sonny Jurgensen, but the Saints never let up. The Saints defense kept the great Larry Brown in check. Last year's leading rusher in the NFC gained an embarrassing 6 yards on 12 carries. When it finally ended, the New Orleans Saints owned a 19-3 win over the powerful Washington Redskins, and head coach John North can only wonder as to how his up-and-down Saints will perform next week.